Hi there, my name is Kimberly Inez Mays, and I have a question for you. Do you feel like AI is now being overhyped? And if so, you want to stick around because I'm going to answer this question. Well, not really answer it for you, but help you to answer it for yourself. So if you don't know me, my name is Kimberly Inez Mays, like I said before, and I help businesses, service-based businesses, and people in general demystify technology so that they can stop duct taping their systems together and scale with confidence. And I do so through marketing automation and AI. And it may seem like I talk about AI all the time, and I do. And so one of the things that I've asked is, do you think AI is becoming overhyped now? And what I want to say is that now that everybody's on the AI hype train, I think it might be a little self-perpetuating, right? Because AI now makes it easier to make content about AI, which got a lot of people talking about it faster and louder. And the loudest voices are now really dominating the space. You can't even scroll through Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn without a lot of AI stuff. You can't even go on AppSumo now without AI software. You can't even open up your software without an AI component in it. And you're always going to find some AI conference, some AI guru, and now even people you didn't even know spoke about technology, they're now teaching AI. And this is not inherently a bad thing because one of the things I like to do is democratize technology so that everybody can feel confident. But where do we balance this out now? Where do we know who to listen to, what to listen to, and more importantly, what to execute and what to implement? So let's just talk through some of this. And at the end of this, I'm not going to draw a definitive conclusion. I'll let you do that on your own. But what I want to, my objective for recording is to get us thinking about the voices that we listen to, the things that we listen to, and to sharpen our discernment just a little itty bitty bit, right? So AI just didn't explode. Content about AI exploded. And it exploded to the point where I actually stopped and I logged off for quite a while, just from some of the platforms I used to be on, or maybe just synthesizing some information. It just became too much to me. And I just saw so much that annoyed me because not only was it wrong, it was confidently wrong. And it wasn't until someone sent me a message saying, Kim, I think you should talk about AI and authenticity, AI and deepfakes, and content that I'm definitely going to get into a little bit later, that I decided to, okay, let's jump back in because we need discernment. We need to understand what is hype and what is content, or what are things that are actually actionable that we should listen to. So it's a self-reinforcing loop, right? Because this is not accusatory. I'm not accusing anybody of doing any wrongdoing if they learn something and want to teach it back. That is awesome. I love that because AI, specifically using these large language models, can help people write better, can synthesize ideas, help people write the outline for their books or their signature stories, sound confident, and just feel like an expert. So you don't know the feeling of being a technophobe and finally getting that aha moment, like, okay, now I get it. This tool is awesome. This platform is awesome, and I want to share it with the world, right? So I want to make people feel like experts, but just feeling like an expert alone isn't judgment. So AI can make you feel like an expert very, very quickly, and that's a good thing. But it's also a feeling. So when a lot of people feel like experts, then you're going to get a lot of experts. You're going to get a lot of people who are now in the space talking about the things you can do. I know, like maybe a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, we saw an explosion of content like, oh, get 45,000 prompts that you can use to 20x your business, right? You've seen things like that. You've seen those types of those types of posts, those types of products. You've seen a lot of stuff that made big claims because it could. You've seen content that didn't really resonate with the style that the person speaks or writes in. So I think that led to not only the hype, but the fatigue. And I talk about the fatigue too a lot when I talk about deepfakes, which is another thing I'm going to talk about. I know I said I keep going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it later. Where you see the fatigue, where you see an AI generated piece of content, and then you read the comment section and the response is not favorable, right? You see people saying, oh, this was made with AI. I'm tired of AI slop. I'm tired of, AI mass produced things. I'm tired of people not using human talent, or when things are human generated, they're like, oh, okay, finally, it's not AI. So there's a backlash, and it's not a bad thing, but I think the explosion of experts might be turning people off just a little itty bitty bit. And that is probably in part the reason why I've never really got into the whole AI avatar thing. And I'm not bashing it. And I think that I keep saying I want to talk about another video, but darn it, I want to talk about it now, where, there's a lot of there's a lot of enthusiasm for like AI avatars where you don't actually have to get on camera. You can actually have this thing speak for you, and you can post, and you can make a lot of this or that, and it's great, and I've definitely have invested in those products, but I think there's a trade-off. I think I talked about the uncanny valley. I talked about the human experience, and I talked about what it looks like on the recipient's end of those types of pieces of content. And I say just because you can doesn't mean that you definitely should. And I know I'm veering way off from the original topic of this video, but I want to just talk about that in and of itself. It's like, just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean that you have to jump on this trend. And because something is a trend, we all know what happens to trends. So what lasts the test of time, right? What lasts the test of time? Sound marketing definitely lasts the test of time, but also authenticity too. So I'm not saying that you can't use AI to replicate your voice or your likeness or write copy for you. Not at all. I talk about that, and more importantly, I teach about it. But I say, like, if you're fatigued, definitely you're not alone, and you don't want to create and add to the fatigue, right? You don't want to now say, well, because I can produce all this content really quickly, really fast, really efficiently, or just explosively, doesn't mean that that's something that people want. I always have the ethos that if you wouldn't consume it, don't produce it. And I think now we're going to see a return to humanity. We're going to see a return to people looking messy on camera. We're going to see a return to people saying ums and ahs, even though I use AI products to remove the ums and ahs out of my videos. But I have videos where my lipstick's messed up, my hair is messed up, my cat always jumps on me, and things like that. And I keep that in deliberately. And I think that is a big selling point, where you're like, okay, well, here's how I use AI, but I use it to connect with people, not to mass produce and be part of the machine. Because I think that is where the hype is now starting to die down, where your everyday average Jane and Joe now understands that you can pump out 400 posts. I'm just being a little bit like hyperbole, I'm just using a hyperbole, but I'm just, I think people know that you can do this stuff quickly and effectively in record time, right? So I think the effort that we put into creating content is going to look a lot different than it has been last year, or even the year prior. I think now we're returning to more organic, authentic content creation, ways of reaching out to people, because I think mass-produced stuff has its place, but people are getting tired of it. And so here's where to zig when other people are zagging, right? I'm not saying you can't use Synthesia, HeyGen, or 11 Labs, or ChatGPT, or Gemini, whatever, to make your images, to make your post, to make your videos, to make your avatars. Definitely do that. But do less of it and make it count more. So here are a couple of ways that I think that you can zig instead of zag. Number one, when you make your content, you don't need to make it perfect. As a matter of fact, when I make long form content, I really like making it into clips so that I can clip it later. I can quote from it. I can do a lot of things from it. And I find that is the best way to remain authentic because I literally use the transcripts from all of my long videos, and I give away secrets. I give away a lot of good information for free that I tell people this is exactly what I'm doing. So I don't keep anything secret. I take all of that content in the transcript. I pull quotes out of my transcripts. I clip my videos. I may take the ums and ahs or trailing thoughts. Maybe if I have like the phone ring or something like that, or the doorbell ring, I might take that out. But I keep majority of my errors, my mistakes, my tangents. And I also look to, just really make sure that it's really my authentic voice. It's me. And I think that is the correct positioning. If you want to sound like an expert, do expert things, train, teach, talk, show up. Don't just hide behind an AI generated output because that's fake. It takes 3 seconds to do and it doesn't impress anybody. Remember, if you wouldn't consume it, don't produce it. Let me just see. I'm just looking at my notes because I have like things that I've wrote down. Like if I don't talk about it, I'll be disappointed. So the opportunity to zag, as I put, it gives you discernment, restraint, and judgment, especially when you are the producer yourself. So, okay. So the big ass takeaway that I wrote here is the end of hype is where the real leverage begins. All right. So that's all I got to say about that. I look forward to talking more about AI with you, showing you more use cases. My particular loves and faves are Google Notebook LM, Perplexity, and I have a couple more things, tricks up my sleeve too, that you can have a little bit of fun with it while still being real. All right. So until then, I'll see you later. Take care, be well, and peace out. Bye.